So good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, December 18th. TJ Smith here. And a lot's happened in the past 24 hours. We continuously have these conversations, and here we are having them again. There have been at least a dozen people shot, multiple people killed in the past 24 hours here in Baltimore. And there seems to be no fierce sense of urgency. This is like a right now thing. And what's more troubling, if the violence enough isn't an issue, the timing of the violence should be a major issue. Yesterday, the death and destruction that we saw throughout the day, if you were paying any attention, and we're not even going to talk about carjackings and robberies and FedEx trucks and UPS trucks being taken. We're talking about people's lives being taken and people's lives attempted to be taken. It was about 12:30 yesterday afternoon when the first murder of the day, of the daytime at least, came in front of Latrobe Homes, right across the street from a nice new field where I rode by last Sunday and saw kids playing a football game. At 12:30 in the afternoon, we have a person shot multiple times and killed right there on the corner. People reported seeing the blood, and it was raining, so it was one of those days where the blood is being washed down the drain as crime scene investigators work the scene. As the day went on, more violence. There were shootings at 3:30, at 4:20, and at 4:45. If that's not a fierce sense of urgency that's needed, when I look at those times and I say kids are getting out of school at that time, and this is what they're navigating through. This is what our kids are forced to deal with, forced to walk through. It's violence happening right in the middle of the daytime. And if it wasn't wintertime and wasn't such a nasty day yesterday, it would be hundreds and thousands of people out on the streets, and it would be light at 4:45. It might have just been getting dark at that time, but this is still daytime when kids are getting out of school or walking from place to place. But they're witnessing shootings and murders happening, and we have no fierce sense of urgency. And this morning, just this morning, not happening as we speak, two men were shot in Westport, 8:30 in the morning. 8:30 in the morning, two men shot in Westport as kids are going to school. We know that the bad guys don't care. We know they disregard anything, whether it's a lack of a fear of prosecution, whether it's they're emboldened because they feel like people are on their side or whatever it might be. We know they don't care, but we have to care. We have to care more. And I say we as the people of this Baltimore metropolitan area, and we as people of influence who have the ability to make laws, the ability to craft policy, the ability to make decisions today. What's needed right now, and I'm just gonna, put it out there. I'm gonna put it right now. You have these upwards of, we're closing on about 20 shootings in the last 24 hours. And most of those people are going to survive. So let's just say 15 survive. That's 15 people that are looking for retaliation, looking to settle the score. We have to go into the areas where these murders are occurring and be present, and not just put up a big truck, police truck with a big antenna and be present that way. We have to be on the ground present. We have to make inroads in these communities. And it's beyond police community relations. This is about going after those who want to hurt your family, period. There are empty chairs at the dinner table for Christmas this year again, and more, and they're continuing to grow, and more families are being affected by this violence. As I'm on social media, on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, I see nearly daily someone who is connected to someone who passed away. Another popular person here in Baltimore was killed in the last 24 hours, and we will have the RIP tribute. Sorry that happened to you, and we're going to move on to the next one. We can't even be outraged long enough because it keeps happening. Don't get distracted by this stuff that's going on. Like right now, we have the money issue that we were talking about, where certain people that are running for office got money from a person that's involved in the whole scandal that took down the last mayor. Don't get distracted by that. We have a tax credit thing that's in the new, whatever. Don't get distracted by that. That's not costing people their lives. What's costing people their lives is the inaction. We have to put, right now, officers on top of these areas. We have to move people around, move them into these areas. We have to partner with organizations like Safe Streets, like the churches, and like some of the men that are in these communities that are willing to hit the ground, and we have to collaborate. The violence is going to continue. I used to call it like a tennis match of violence, back and forth and back and forth. I'm sounding the alarm. This should be a no-brainer. Retaliation is going to occur. You have this much violence in 24 hours. You're going to have this type of violence happen again because these folks are going to retaliate. We should be overt, and you should see something happening right now. If it does not happen, we're failing. We can't normalize this. We got to this number of 300, and now we're at a point where we're not even counting anymore because we're so normalized by it. It's sickening. I'm tired of it. As I close, I want to talk about Jonathan Tobash. Today is the 2-year anniversary of his death. He was a Morgan State University student, 19 years old, killed in a failed robbery attempt. It's really indicative of the violence that we're continuing to see. I'm going to share the video of the suspects again on my pages very shortly, and you'll see how just ignorant these killers were that are still on the street and have likely done this to someone else since. But today is the 2-year anniversary, and they're still looking for the suspects in this case. We can't forget about who's being affected by this violence. I'm not interested in looking in my rearview mirror. I'm interested in the here and right now, and it's all hands on deck. I don't care who you are. I don't care about your party affiliation. I don't care if you're in it to help stop the violence and stop moms and dads and brothers and sisters and children from losing their parents. We have to do this together. 24 hours, nearly 20 people shot, multiple people killed, and it's still going on. It's still just this morning, 8:30. So don't get distracted by what you're seeing out there. Just focus on what we need to focus on, because we have to do better. We can do better. And if we don't do better, this is the norm that we have accepted. So thank you all for bearing with me. I went a little longer than I wanted to, but this is important. I'm frustrated, and I challenge our leadership to get out to these crime scenes and hear the screams and the cries of family. When you hear that, when you actually hear it, it's totally different than putting out a little statement about how outraged you are about what's going on the street. No. Feel it. Feel it. Feel what the families are going through. A statement of outrage is nothing but words on paper. That's not what we need. We need action, not words on paper, not talk. And I'm talking right now, but y'all know I'm out there in these streets doing everything I can with these young men. And I say young men because that's who these victims mainly are. Thank y'all, and have a peaceful and safe day.